Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the episode number 72 of Let's Talk About Market. So we have seen today that the Nifty index has come down, and in fact we saw some rise in VIX as well. Uh, I have been mentioning that 26,000 is an important support level. So even that was broken decisively today. So there were some key levels that were broken, but is all uh, is everything now turned extremely bearish? Probably no. There are some silver linings still that is there, but yes, I mean one thing is for sure that the trend seems to have turned a bit weak, but it is like we are at an edge. Maybe the bears kind of have the upper hand, but all is not lost. And what are the things that we need to watch out for is what we'll talk about it today. Let me share my screen and please let me know if you all are able to see my screen properly and if you all are able to hear me. Okay, please let me know if you all are able to see my screen and if you all are able to hear me. Just put it in the chat box so that we can get started. Okay, thanks Deepak ji. So yes, I mean, see, in the Nifty index, we had mentioned about the gap zone, which was over here. Uh, Now, this I thought was an important support level, which the Nifty index did break above it. Uh, I mean, sustaining above it will definitely make things worse. Now, please try and understand what is happening also when we, try to zoom out a bit. See, broadly, if you see, from 23rd of October, we have sort of gone nowhere. Okay. So each breakouts looked like that it will rise higher, but it did not. But it did not. Each breakdowns, it looked like that it will. I mean, things will fall apart, but it did not. Okay. So we have to understand this fact that we are broadly in a range. Okay. So this appears to be the broader range as of now, and things can get worst if 25,700, 25,650, that zone is broken on the downside. But yes, I mean, definitely breaking below 26,000 weakens the structure a bit. Uh, but if you see, I mean, if you try and combine daily and hourly chart both, okay, so the 61.8% retracement level is somewhere around 25,920 or so. That is where today the Nifty index has turned around from. Okay. And if we see the daily chart, so as I mentioned, 26,000 is broken on the downside with that gap zone, and daily averages are broken on the downside. But 40 day is still holding, which was the case, all this while. So all this while, 40-day was holding. I mean, we used to see a minor break and then a turnaround happens. Now, what are the things that you need to watch out for? Basically, see, one thing, as I told you, there is no denying that the trend has turned weak now. I mean, until now, the averages are not broken on the upside on the daily chart. There can be some weakness that can persist, but like I told you, there are some green shoots or there are some silver linings now. If you all remember, it was around this point where I had cautioned that we need to be prepared for a pullback and then wait if the pullback turns around or no. I mean, from wherever it turns around, that would be the opportunity. So far, the pullback has happened and we haven't seen any turnaround, right? And the basis of giving that warning of a minor dip or a correction was the daily swing, right? The daily swing, if you know, was if I do this bar chart, so it was somewhere over here that the daily swing had come to 85, 87 sort of levels. And from there, now we are at 25, 27 sort of levels. Okay. Now, see, if these are range bound markets, then swing will find buying around the lower levels and it will find selling pressure around the upper levels. Just to give you an example, this was that sideways zone that we had, right? and each time you used to see that whenever it used to come towards the upper end, somewhere over here, we used to see a minor correction, and then whenever it used to come to those minor lows, there we used to see a bounce back. So similarly, over here also, every time there used to be a breakout, it feels like everything is breaking out, but it used to again come down, right? And something very similar is kind of happening right now as well, that we are grinding. I mean, we are just trading between the levels. You check this, where this was a perfect trading range. So it might feel like that it is breaking out, but again there is a minor divergence and then a correction, and then at lower level, swing turns oversold, and from there we are getting a bounce back. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that if this is a range bound market, then maybe somewhere around here, if swing comes, then it might see a bounce back. But the things that you need to watch out for is that 40-day holds. Okay, 40-day or this trend line, which are now very close to each other. I think by the time tomorrow happens, the trend line will come to say somewhere around 25, and the 40-day exponential is around the same level, right? So this would be the level, and the most important thing is try find I mean, see what VIX is doing. Okay, I mean, this was primary one of the reasons I was trying to highlight since a very long time, that this is a concern. And if basically the India VIX moves about the averages, so think of it this way, okay? If India VIX break above the averages, okay, and the Nifty index breaks below the 40-day, and there is a sell crossover, then there is a problem, which means that then in the near term, in the very near term, okay, I'm telling, these will be the levels to watch out for. Basically, the lower end of this parallel channel, which would be around 25,650 sort of levels. And then if that breaks, then we'll have to go level by level, that this will be the level, and then so on. I mean, this will be the downside level, and then each level will start opening on the downside. See, one thing that you need to understand is that from a medium term perspective, I think things are still good. Okay, and this is what I was trying to highlight since quite some time, that do we turn around from here, or do we go down and then turn around? And even if we go down, do we end over here or over here? I mean, these are the questions that I don't have the answer. But as the day passes by, hopefully I get to get a definite answer sooner or later. I think, see, right now, what is happening is that at every lower level, say in 100 points or so, there are some or the other important levels that are kicking in, because even the moving averages are dynamic. So even those are moving higher. So the other thing that I will watch very, very closely is what is the monthly close. Okay, so just to be very, very clear, I think if there is a negative monthly close, which we should be knowing in 2 days time, right? By Wednesday we should be knowing whether are we going to get a monthly negative close or a bullish close. So if at all we end up getting negative monthly close, then the high, which is 26,325, will become a very, very important resistance level. And until that high does not break on the upside, there can be some trouble that is possible in the near term. Okay. So, if you remember, I was telling even few days back that wait for the range to break out on the upside. So ideally, breakout from this falling channel would have been an initial indication of a turnaround. Then breaking above 61.8% would have further confirmed it, and the final confirmation would have been, above this. I mean, above the breakout of the all-time high. unfortunately, two of the confirmations we got, but not the other one. I mean, not the last one. But you know, uh, the good part was that the momentum swing kind of hinted us, and it was not just momentum swing. In fact, I had mentioned that multiple indicators were coming to overbought, right? So extreme short term setups, this is what I usually use to find short term tops and bottoms. So this had come in red, and notice that whenever it comes in red, there is a minor correction that you end up seeing. Okay, some last for 3 4 days, some last for some more time, but broadly what happens is that you see over here red, and it went through some sideways consolidation. Over here it went and it led to a meaningful correction, right? So a lot depends on what the trend is, but in the short term, basically whenever this histogram turns into red, which means more shorting is happening in puts than call, then and swing, average swing, both of them comes towards the overbought zone, then it's a time you need to stay back and watch out for the price action and wait for a short term bottom to happen, okay, which is not happening so far. So this was one. In fact, if you know the percentage of stock with RMI buy, okay, that itself had also come towards the overbought zone, if you all recall. I mean, these were all the points that we had discussed. So because of these things, I was expecting some bit of pullback, but to be very honest, I was not expecting 26,000 to break on the downside. But now, since that has broken, we need to be a little more careful now. uh, and I think monthly positive close, as I mentioned, that would be very very important. uh, if we end up getting that confirmation of a negative monthly close, sorry, if we end up getting that monthly negative close, then what it would mean is that we have to be open for some bit of correction in the near term. But I don't know what happens. Some miracle happens, and the Nifty index ends up closing above 26,200, uh, by which it would escape from making a negative monthly close. I mean, if we end up seeing that, I think it would be super bullish to me. Uh, so that is how I am viewing viewing things at this point of time. In fact, most of the indices, if you see, are in that phase only, right? Even mid cap, small cap, so anyways is down. Micro cap is also anyways down. Mid cap is where there is a chance of a negative monthly close. Small cap is Nifty 500 is where we will again be having same issue. So we just need to wait for 2 days to see what happens, and that should give us a fair idea of what to expect in the coming days. So these are the things that I'm watching out for. And in the very near term, if at all we end up seeing daily swing around the 20 levels, 2025 levels, I will try to see, if it makes sense to think of a short-term bottom. So see, average swing will come down with a lag, but if you see this setup where this histogram goes to around 5 lakh uh, crore contracts, okay, which is where this orange line is, right? If we end up seeing that plus the average swing going to this level, then there can be a case, okay, I mean, I'm not sure, but there can be a case depending on how the market the overall setup is. But a short term bottom can occur, okay. uh, by short term, I would mean very very short term, which means by for 1 or 2 3 4 day 1 to 4 days or so, the bottom can occur. But as I told you, I mean, you need to look at things in a multiple way, which is that, what is the OIPCR. So if I see the OIPCR, it has now again come to 0.69, right? And if you see over here, also PCR, basically see PCR, whenever it comes towards the lower end, it sort of tells you that skepticism is there. Then, depending on the market situation, within 2 or 3 days, it does try to turn around. Okay, that is what sorry, that is what we see over here, that is what we see over here, that is what we see over here, and that is what we even saw over here. So wait for this. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that when there will be an indication of a short term bottom, I mean, lot of indicators will come towards that extreme oversold zone, but you need to understand which indicator you need to look to find extreme short term bottoms. Okay, so I am just re-highlighting once again. If you want to try and time the extreme short term bottoms, you need call minus put histogram, swing, average swing, all in one screen. Okay, because when you do that, that's where you kind of get a good idea. Basically, the setup is that call minus put should be towards this orange line. I mean, towards the upper end, and swing and average swing should be at the oversold zone. So that leads to a bottom and then good up move. Okay, and for the top, what you need is a pattern like this, where call minus put is in red, and swing and average swing are in overbought zone, which is between 80 to 90. So if we have this setup, then we can safely say that maybe in the near term, short term, top has occurred. So so that's about it for the Nifty index. Now see, if now see, as you know, I mean, this is a very stock specific market, right, that we are seeing. So in a range bound market, okay, ideally what you would want to be is, what you want to do is that, I mean, short the stocks that are weak, go long in the stocks that are strong, right? Now for that, there is this perfect filter that you can look out for, which is near 52-week high or near 52-week high low. Okay, now over here, because in one of my watch list I have Nifty all stocks, I think I have, okay, mm, if I do everything, so you see 148 stocks, right? So in this 148 stocks, basically it includes entire market. Okay, so within this entire market, I mean, these are the list of stocks that are near 52-week high. Okay, you check the filter over here. Now if you want to quality stocks, you remove this, you can choose any of the basket. I mean, total market cap is a good one because it has all the liquid stocks over there. So here now it comes down to 64 stocks, right? Now over here you can see that it is CSB Bank, LTF, okay, Adani Energy Solution, Britannia, and so on. So that's how you will get stocks that are near 52-week high. Okay. Now, if you want to find the stocks which are near 52-week low, and of course you're trying to find this because you want to short the weak stocks, then just go to the basket and do, sorry, and you have to do over here FNO stocks. Okay, so here you will see it's Piramal Pharma, Mankind, Patanjali, Crompton, Loda, and so on. Right? These are the ones that are weak. So that's how you can try to find the stocks which are weak, or you or basically you can just try and identify where is it that you can get a short setup in the near term. Okay, and if at all you want to make it both long and short, or in case you're bullish, your view is bullish, then you can simply just do 52-week high, maybe over here select a basket which is total market, and you will get fair amount of stocks to think on it. Okay, that is one. I think, see, I am just trying to tell you which are the ways I will try and filter out stocks. So this is one, and the other thing that I will try and do is I'll try to understand where is it that the promoters are buying or selling. Okay, because that should also help me get some clue as to what people are thinking about their businesses. Okay, and of course then the other scanners that we anyways have, which is the RMI by, Dow trend, whether it's going up or down. uh, Basically RMI, if I do all and if I do RMI buy, okay, I end up getting 62 stocks. Now I can further filter it out with buy or new buy. So now I'm left with just 15 stocks, and maybe then I would want to see, whether are these good stocks. Should I get into this, or should I, do some other filters? You can try and experiment on this. And in fact, in the next 2 days, you will end up having a monthly close as well. So you can also go over here and see which are the ones where you are getting monthly new buy. Okay, so maybe if you would be interested in those stocks, you can get that list easily, basically. So these are the 3 4 ways that I'll try and see which stocks are doing what, and which are the stocks that should be on my radar. But as I told you, for the Nifty index, it is basically the 40-day exponential average that I'll be seeing very closely. RMI, again, whether it goes into sell or no, because one thing you have to remember is that last week the RMI went into sell. Okay, so if we get a follow through this week, then it may not be bad. I mean, then it may not be good. And on top of that, you will have a monthly negative close as well. So there will be a lot of red flags which will be there. Uh, Now, again, I mean, while all these bearish things do get confirmed, I am not sure how big the correction will be, but I just need to be open to the fact that there can be correction that can happen, and have to take it with the open mind. So yes, I mean, that's how I'm thinking about it. Let me know if you all have any questions. We can talk about it. Abhijit says, what about international markets? So, in international markets as well, if you see, there are some cracks that are visible. I mean, not necessarily, I mean, things are falling apart as such, but but yes, I mean, there are some concerns. Okay, because you're seeing that most of them, I mean, like you see DAX, it has just gone sideways, right? I think if I had seen, if I remember correctly, Taiwan again, no, so Taiwan was, yeah, over here. I mean, it had also seen correction and then it is trying to rise higher. So see, anyways, the thing is that broadly market is not following, I mean, Indian markets are not following world market at this point of time. Okay, so maybe, we just need to go by our levels. Like you see Kospi over here as well, corrected, went up, corrected, again went up. And see, these are the characteristics of strong market, where you end up seeing pullback towards the averages. Again, they may make a good comeback. Okay. Now, whether Nifty index does or not, that needs to be seen. And we all know that we are now heading into the result season, right? So how it does over here, whether it fulfills the expectation of market or not, I mean, that is what will decide whether it ends up holding above the averages or no. So as I mentioned, see, again, I'm mentioning and I've repeated this many times. I feel that from a medium term perspective, maybe if you ask me, 6 months, 12 months down the line, I think the market should be higher than the current levels. In the near term, the risk is that can it fall to these kind of levels and then rise higher, or can it go way down over here towards its previous low and then rise higher? I mean, this is what frankly we are trying to figure it out. And once we have a negative weekly close, I mean negative monthly close, then you have to be open for all the possibilities, which means either a correction till here or probably till here as well. I don't know, but you need to be mentally prepared for that and maybe strategize something on that lines. Okay. uh, and the flip side to that is that if we don't end up seeing a monthly negative close, which means within 2 days, if the Nifty index ends up closing about 25605 26205, then I would view it as very very positive, and then I think it would be just a matter of time before we break out. So yeah, just to cut long answer short, market Indian markets are not following global market. Look at it on its own merit. Kushwant. Okay. What do you make of examples like Bharti Airtel? RMI is in sell. I mean, RMI is in set by sell. Yeah. So NCTG, please try and understand on all the different time frames things are happening. I mean, the trends are different. Okay. Now you have to decide which time frame you want to trade and look at that. Okay. Don't try to see the four time frames. If you are trying to trade for 1 week, 2 week, look at hourly and daily setups and then try to do your trade. Okay. If you are interested in holding position for 3 weeks to 4 weeks, then look at daily chart and weekly chart as a combination and then try to make sense of it. It doesn't make sense that you look hourly chart and monthly chart all in the same phase. I mean, that way you might never be able to take a trade that way. Okay. uh, so uh, so just taking this as a case study and not really a recommendation, but let's try to understand Bharti Airtel. So Bharti Airtel, there is no new sell as such which you are showing, but if you see hourly is in sell, daily is in buy, which might get into new sell, weekly is in sell, and monthly is also in sell. So now this simply means, I mean, now you have to try and understand what is happening on each time frame, right? So over here, it was not able to break above the previous high, and you can see that it had been holding the averages, and it is breaking down. I mean, if that happens, then of course the short term trend may, I mean, in the short term, there can be some weakness, in which case RMI will go to sell. And then until it does not give a new buy, you need to be patient with that. And on weekly, what I would expect is that at least a drop till here. And if the 20-week breaks on the downside, okay, because you can see over here, mostly the 20 weeks are holding only. It was only one instance over here where 20-week broke, but it is like, it rose higher from here, it rose higher from here. And what it does over here will be important, because if 20-week breaks, then I would expect that it to go down towards the 40 and maybe even complete the cycle, and then see what to do. Okay. So that is how I would see. But I am again telling you, I mean, if you are trying to trade on a shorter time frame, look at two time frames in a combination. Don't try to look at all the time frames, else it is very likely that you would get confused. Metal index I had showed you a couple of days back, I think. On RRG on the weekly, it is a nice setup that is building up. Okay, so this again from a medium term perspective. Now I had mentioned this earlier as well, that if the Nifty index is falling, it is possible that that metal may fall less. Okay. uh, but that is what it means. I mean, basically being on the right hand side means it is an outperformer. And if you see the chart of metal, that again is looking good only, because it is trying to break above the previous high now. Okay. Today it did break up. Today it did try to break above the previous high, but it couldn't succeed. But nevertheless, I mean, till the time averages are holding, I mean, all looks okay. And on the weekly chart, you see over here that it is just extending above the averages, right? So somewhere daily averages holds the key now. I mean, as long as it is above that, maybe anything that happens might just be a minor pullback, and that's about it. And it should continue to rise higher as long as averages are holding. But say in case the Nifty index breaks down, okay, if Nifty index breaks down and threatens to correct to see a, I mean, if it threatens for a meaningful correction, then in that case metals will be an outperformer. Okay, it can still go down, but it might go down lesser than Nifty index, and that is what RRG chart is saying. And for absolute terms, you have to look at the daily averages, what it does over here. So overall, as of now, it's all good. You explained Bollinger Band, but what is the fourth colored line? Fourth colored line is nothing but the 40-day exponential average. I mean, 40 period average in whatever time frame that you see. So one is the average of the Bollinger Band, upper band, lower band, and the blue line is nothing. I mean, blue line I have kept it, but that is nothing but the 40-day exponential average. Any other questions you'll have? Oh. Okay, we have anyways into 30 minutes into the session. So I'll wait for a few more seconds. If there are no more questions, then we can probably meet tomorrow. Okay, so I don't think I am seeing any more questions. So we'll end the session for today, and let's catch up tomorrow then at same time, 5 p.m.